It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, it's Rusty. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, the public access podcast here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN. And you can check out other great shows on the network, such as When the Gloves Come Off, the Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast, This Is It with Lizzie, and Saved by the Ben. And the show is brought to you by Fred Ben Savage as Fuck, Stoner Eats Productions, Hardcore Entertainment, Hypnosis is Great, and SockMup.org. And it's Friday. It's my second of third show. And yeah, I got one more tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern. So yeah, you guys, thank you for being here. And if you want, you can do not what they say on here, but you know how it goes. Let's see.
Messages? We don't leave no stinking messages!
And neither do you. But if you want to send a message, you can have it be played here on air. So give a call and leave a message, 503-974-6420. And just, I don't know, leave a message. Or you can talk to me probably if you call. So yeah, you guys, let's bring on our guest for today. Right here, right now, we have Tanya Segura. Right here. Oh, get a good stretch. How you doing?
Hello. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So let's see. So are you okay? Well, it's interesting. So you're like in a very, very white space here.
It's just a wall.
Okay, yeah.
This office is actually very busy, but I think the background picture is a little distracting. It's a San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. So you can see it if you want.
Sure. Okay. All right. So is that kind of the area you're around? Are you in that area?
I live in San Francisco, yeah.
Okay, cool. How long have you been there for?
Pretty much my whole life.
Okay. Yeah, it's yeah, it's an interesting place. It's I've been down there a good number of times. I was down there last, I think was that last year? Maybe that might have been last year. Might have been October, but might have been October before. No, it's been the October before. So yeah, almost 2 years ago, I guess. I was working with a buddy down there who was filming some stuff. But yeah, because I would have lived closer. So it's been 2 years ago. But yeah, so what is it down in San Francisco that you like going to go do? Do you hang out in the city? Do you go out elsewhere?
When I was younger, I used to go clubbing and go to bars. But now, being married and having 2 kids, we don't get to do that as much. We mostly just like to go to like baseball games and Warriors games, go out to eat, things like that.
Are you going to the Giants or A's or whatever? Are you going? Is there a minor? Okay. I haven't been there. I went there in 30 years ago, I guess. I went to Candlestick Park there and saw a game. So that tells you, a little bit. It's been a little while since I've been there, but that was a cool park. I haven't been to the new one yet, though.
The new one is nice. There's a lot of good food, a lot of secret tunnels under here and under there with other good food. It's pretty cool.
What are the tunnels for?
It's basically where the players go in and out and the employees. But we've snuck in there a few times during playoffs games and things like that. So there's other places to go eat, things like
Yeah.
that. It's really interesting.
Yeah. So there's other places to eat down in the tunnels that
Yeah.
are for
Or
the.
just like like private areas.
Okay, that's a good deal. So I don't want to have reveal your secrets of how you got down in there. I don't want it being overrun by other people that are trying to get that. But so then so I mean, what was the club and bar scene like when you were going there? What was that like?
Well, that was in like the early 2000s. So the Bay Area was big on the hyphy movement. If you know anything about rap music.
Mac Dre?
Yeah, it's all about Mac Dre and E40 and Too Short. They're still making amazing music. So that's kind of what we were doing.
Yeah.
Listening to that music and dancing and having a good time.
Yeah, I was up in Portland, and a lot of that was definitely making its way up there pretty soon. It was, I mean, yeah, everywhere you go, you hear it. So, but yeah, it was a good deal. And then, so that would have been because I think Mac Dre got shot in '04 in Kansas City, something like that. I want to say, which
Something
is
like that.
wild. But yeah, I mean, it's cool that, I mean, that's, I don't know, you can still probably go somewhere and still hear it, or you can still hear, Too Short, E40.
We definitely still hear it in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. At games, everywhere, and bars, especially if they do like any throwback parties. That's the throwback music now. So
Oh God.
it's fun. Yeah, it's painful, but it's fun.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, the mom and dad music now.
Right.
Oh, that's a hard one. So let's see. Yeah, that was oh geez. So then you're going to these games. Are there any I mean, so it's interesting now because I don't think back when we were younger, and I don't know when this came about, but the batters, when they go up to the plate, now all have their own music and stuff. Which I was talking with my friend who's my age too, and like I wish we'd have had that when we were growing up, and thinking about what we would have had as our walk-up music. If you were doing that and you were, I don't know, if you were, I guess right now, if you were going up there and you were going to be in the game, they're putting in Tanya to pinch hit. What music would you have for your walk-up music there?
It would either be like a Lizzo song or Sia, Unstoppable. That's my go-to music.
Is that what's going on when you're driving in the car?
That's what's happening when I'm going to work.
Put it on repeat. Put those two on shuffle,
Right.
and
Get in the mode.
yeah. So you're driving around there in the Bay Area. You're not doing the BART, none of that stuff.
No.
It's understandable. It's yeah. Is the I mean, if you've lived there your whole life, you probably learn how to navigate the traffic pretty well through there, and know some other streets to go on.
Right. And I work on off hours, so I'm
Oh,
lucky that I don't
nice.
get stuck in traffic. Or I'm
Okay.
going opposite traffic if I work a different shift. So that makes a difference. Traffic is brutal here.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
almost is like turning into LA traffic. It's almost there.
I mean, I think every city on the West Coast is turning into that now. All up to all the way up to Vancouver. It's just can't go anywhere. And I mean, but I don't know. It's you just need to get around it and how you can. And I think it's changed too since the Google Maps and stuff of that nature, where it's taking a lot of people onto side streets that used to be, kind of for the locals, where the locals can get through. And it's just not really a thing anymore. It's not really that locals shortcut to get through town.
Right.
But so when you're, let's see, when you're I don't want to ask too much about the work. So
You can ask me stuff about work. It's fine.
okay. So do you want to explain what you do and what you're trying to get across to people?
Well, I've been a registered nurse for 15 years. And I've worked in a critical care setting pretty much the entire time, either ICU or a step down unit. And the common theme now of medicine is to be medicated, right? People like there's a pill for everything.
And a pill for the side effect.
Right. And that's where I feel like that's the problem. I think people are not well informed or educated on side effects of medications before they start them. And I think that people really need to have the opportunity to heal themselves before they jump into medication if they're not in like a detrimental like zone of being like with high blood pressure or pre-diabetic or diabetic. There's a lot of ways to heal your body. So I do work in the hospital as a house supervisor, and I also work on my own business doing wellness coaching, and I help people avoid medication. I teach people natural ways to reduce their blood pressure, reduce their hemoglobin A1C, which is your lab value that tells you about if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic and the severity of it, and to help people just reduce their weight. Just being overweight doesn't necessarily mean you're diabetic or hypertensive, but unfortunately the statistics show when you're not at a healthy weight, as you get older and older and older, it catches up at some point. And so it's just, and then just on like a side note, it's always better to be in a healthy weight and in just good shape, because you just never know what life is going to throw at you. A few weeks ago, I rolled my ankle playing with my kids, and I was on crutches for only a few days, but we've had patients that they're so big, they had a knee replacement or, broke their ankle. We can't even do physical therapy with them because their body weight, they can't handle it on their arms. Like they can't push themselves up. They can't like do this or scoot themselves up in bed or hop on one leg to a commode so I just always like tell people just be as healthy as you can, because you just never know what life is going to throw at you.
So what happens in that case where they're not able to do physical therapy or?
It's really a downhill slope when that happens. You either got to get really motivated and start getting up. I mean, we have devices that we can move people with, which is totally fine, but that's not going to help you strengthen your leg. It's not going to help you get mobile. I mean, I would be miserable if I was bedbound for 6 months because I broke my leg or an ankle or a knee, knock on wood. I would be like miserable. So
it sucks.
Right. So if I can get up and get on crutches, that's what I want to do. And if you can't, you're going to get really deconditioned. You have a super high risk for pneumonia because you're not breathing throughout your lungs. You're just kind of breathing to here. So things start building up. People get depressed. People get bed sores. I mean, the list goes on and on. I can go as long as you want about that.
Yeah, and I mean, also your the rest of your body's muscles aren't moving and getting work. And that's kind of happened with me. I mean, I busted my knee and I couldn't do shit. I mean, I was in a very physical life, and it just stopped. And I mean, luckily, I was in shape then, so I mean that helped. But yeah, I mean, it stops everything. And then yeah, I mean, same with being over medicated. I got way over medicated. I was at I won't name the system of the hospital, but I mean, they were giving me so many different, I had a number of issues, not all pain related, but I mean, I had quite the cocktail of different drugs. I mean, it would take forever to just tell the doctor, when they asked for what prescriptions you're taking, just like, shit, here we go. Here they are. But then, yeah, once I moved from there, I found something that was able to replace, like, one thing able to replace everything. And I was able to drop all those drugs and not take any pills anymore. And I mean, if I wouldn't have done that, I think I would have just been in this perpetual, just lethargic, depressed.
It's an addict state.
Yeah.
It's very sad. It's very sad. I see that happen a lot. I was actually just thinking about, like, what if people found out why they were having pain instead of just medicated the pain?
Right.
I actually wrote a whole paper in my master's program about the pain epidemic. And there used to actually be things called pain clinics. And it was rather expensive, but like insurances would cover it when people had chronic pain, and they would be able to go and do physical therapy, emotional therapy, like some kind of cognitive therapy, and then get like nutrition balance and things like that to help them relieve them of their chronic pain. And then Oxy came along, and it was a rapid FDA approval that claimed it was non-addictive. And right, everybody laughs at that now. I just got the chills because that's such a crock, right?
Yeah.
And that it's not a non-addictive pain medication. And I mean, I honestly, in a lot of ways, blame the opioid epidemic for the homelessness epidemic. Because I know when I was younger, the only people we really saw that were homeless were like sometimes veterans that maybe had like some psych problems or something like that, people that were displaced. And then now it's like, I see people that are like in their 20s and 30s, like just totally strung out on another planet. And they're like urban camping. It's scary and it's sad.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, again, back to every city on the West Coast is just, that's all you see. I mean, and I mean, I've had a good number of friends that have, that have OD'd and died from that stuff. And that's something I'm glad I never got anywhere near, because I mean, it's just, I mean, once you do it, there's a very slim chance you're coming back.
Right. It's super, super addictive. And then on the scientific level, once you start taking pain medication, it makes your pain receptors more sensitive. So your ability to tolerate pain is decreased. So your need for pain medicine has increased. And then your tolerance and then, all those things, it's like, It's a bad snowball effect. It's really sad. It's sad.
Yeah. And I mean, so the pain clinics, is that, you say that's not so what is the difference between a pain clinic and pain management place? Is that the same thing? Or is
I'm
that
not
just people? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. What, like in the hospital, like the pain management team?
Yeah, I mean, or is that just people handing out drugs?
I'm not sure how pain management teams work. Mostly, what I've seen is it is just kind of handing out drugs, but they can offer other medications that maybe are less narcotic type of medications. So like, let's just say I mean, I pride myself on my ability to remedy pain with medication for patients in the hospital. Like, you don't have to take a 10 milligram oxy. Let me give you 1,000 milligrams of Tylenol and stay on top of it, and maybe combine that with Motrin if it's okay for this person's body to handle those things, and see if we can avoid the opioids. So that's an example of pain management through medication. Like, if you just had surgery, you know what I mean? Like, you do need pain management. I
Right.
had 2 C-sections and I was able to never take any narcotics after because I didn't want to give my babies narcotics through my breast milk. And they told me like, oh, it's okay, your liver filters it out. And I'm like, I'm gonna pass on that. And I was able to manage my pain, and I've managed patients' pain with Tylenol and Motrin, and maybe an ice pack, and maybe like music therapy, like put on soft music, don't have 40 people in your room yelling and screaming and talking and telling you to get up and this and that. Like, so things like that. And then using the pain medicine when it really counts, like maybe when you're going to do physical therapy.
Yeah.
And that's even if necessary. If you stay, a lot of times, if you stay ahead of the pain, it can really work, or figure out the root of the pain.
Yeah. And one thing with physical therapy, when they say, when you're all done with physical therapy and they tell you to keep doing the exercises,
Right.
it's real easy to fall right back into where you were if you're not keeping up on those exercises. And yeah, I mean, yes, usually those days are like the day after physical therapy or a day or two after is usually when it's seems to be hurting the most. But then it's also because it's progressing and it's working out stuff that hasn't been worked out a lot, and you're turning that stuff back on, which is a good
Right.
thing. And so just being able to kind of stay on top of everything there. And so you said something about music therapy. Where are you with music therapy? What would that look like?
Well, like in most hospitals, they have something called, it's called different things in different hospitals, but it's like basically like a calming channel. So there'll be, or like a serenity channel or something like that. And they'll have like a stream playing on the TV screen. You can hear the running water, or there'll be like soft music playing while you're looking at like, just like a nice scenery on the TV screen.
Or if you're in San Francisco, the fizzle dance, I guess. Or...
Yes, if you do the fizzle dance, you'll be fine.
I figure that would probably help. And I mean, yeah, like the music, just being able to you being able to change that, put yourself into that more relaxed state is just such a strong thing. Or even I mean, our hypnosis for pain, or or whatever you want, meditation, or whatever you would like to call it. Either way, kind of just being able to do that to, help out with pain. I mean, anything is better than, having to go down that oxy route.
Right. Well, in the paper I wrote, I also found in my research that there is a high correlation between emotional pain and chronic physical pain.
I bet that'd be pretty true. And so is it one causes the other, or are they both interchangeable? If you have one, you're going to probably have the other, or if
think about someone who is in emotional pain, or maybe emotional pain, depressed, or I'll give you the best example. My brother was diagnosed with stomach cancer. That's a huge emotional pain, a worry, a stressor he did also have physical pain from it. They were giving him Dilaudid and Oxy like it was candy. And he was managing a lot of emotional pain with it.
So, I mean, how do you tell someone that their pain is most likely emotional, from emotional something, and how do they go about, I don't know if treating that is the right word, but helping out with it?
Well, I would encourage someone to connect with their emotional side, firstly. I can tell you with my brother, obviously I have a close relationship with my brother, so it's easy to know, like, dude, are you really in pain, or you just don't want to deal with anything, So with my brother, when I would stay with him in the hospital, he would say, I think I'm going to take a pain pill. And I'd say, well, let's go take a walk. Let's just like get out of the room. Let's get your mind off this situation. Let's, try to eat something. And so that's what we would do. And a lot of times what he would do was just wait for us to leave. And then he would ask for pain medicine. And it puts the doctors in a really tough position because it's illegal for them not to treat pain. Like if you say you're in pain, they have to treat you. And that's part of the problem. You know what I mean? But like pain is subjective. Who can tell you you're not having pain? But I did ask my brother's doctors, like, hey, can you guys like try to prescribe him something else that's non-narcotic? This is really like not helping him. It's decreasing his appetite. It's making him not want to move. It did not serve a good purpose in my brother's life at all.
So, yeah, I mean, there's not really much you can do at that point. I mean, it's hard because you never really know. I mean, yeah, once, I don't know. I don't know what it's like to be in that spot. And I mean, I can't imagine how addictive it is, physically, mentally, emotionally, and just the what if, what if I don't have it? That whole, what happens if I run out? What happens if I can't get it? What's going to happen? Who am I without being on the oxy? I don't know. It's a slippery slope, and there's, like I said, there's not really many success stories from it, and I don't know why that isn't something that's addressed, other than it's a great money maker, and that's probably why it hasn't had the need to be addressed as much. But I mean, if something's not working, want to try to find another way to do it, something that's better. But I mean, it's just, then you're not a patient, then you're not a customer.
Right. Well, they say cures don't make money.
Right. And I mean, there's been a lot of cures for a lot of things, and they got shut down pretty quickly, or the people end up killing themselves by shooting themselves in the back of the head 4 times or something. One of those things.
That's not funny, but that is funny.
Well, I mean, but
I
yeah,
know what you're
it's
talking about.
kind of true. Like, there's been a good number of people who have, had those kinds of things, those, being able to disrupt the pharmaceutical industry is a
They're the
big,
mob.
yeah, right. Yeah, you don't want to be that person who does it, but you do want to be that person. But I mean, if you're that person, then you have a big target on your back the rest of your life.
Right.
And it's really unfortunate. But it's kind of the reality with it. And I mean, it's just so easy just to shove those under the table. And I mean, there's so many other different methods. I was talking to this guy, I forgot what his name is, but he has this thing, it's called the scalar light. And it's so there was this thing for a very short while, but it ended up, I think this was one of those guys who, you know, shot himself in the back of the head a few times, whatever kind of thing. But it was like a light box, and it was this light that it was like a healing light that like it looked like one of those photo booths sort of that you go in there and it would like treat a lot of stuff. A lot of cancers and stuff of that nature were getting cured by this. And then I think I want to say the guy got killed, and then they destroyed all the equipment, and you never hear about it anymore. And so like, yeah, this guy, I was talking to him maybe a few weeks ago on the show, and I'm just like, man, you got to watch out. You have something like that. I mean, like I said, you have a target on your back if you're doing something that's going to be disrupting the pharmaceutical or, also energy, mafia, energy mafia, pharmaceutical mafia. Like it's a scary thing, but like how much different anything can help people, how many different alternatives are there to help someone rather than just keep shoving them pills and tell them to hang out at home and not do anything, just keep taking these pills, and there's never any improvement. It's just kind of becomes your baseline.
Right.
Baseline.
Well, or it gets worse. So like
Right.
with hypertension medications, if you have, let's say like you have pre-hypertension and you're like 130/80, and they're like, all right, we don't want it to get higher, so we're going to give you medication now. And you're like, okay, I trust the doctor, I'm going to take the medicine. And then you start taking the medicine and you take it for a month and you're just like, I don't think I really need this medicine. You stop taking it. Now you are probably going to have rebound hypertension. And now your blood pressure is probably going to be like 150/90s. Like you're worse than when you started.
Yeah. And
so it's like, if your blood pressure is 130/80, let's make a plan. Let's fix it so it's under 120 or under 130 and get you in a healthy state just with like very few adjustments. My husband was actually, his blood pressure was like 160s, 170s, over 90s. And if he was like really irritated or frustrated or something was happening at his warehouse or something, his blood pressure would be like 180/100. And I was like, dude, like, this is not safe. Like, you can't live in this zone that when you get upset, you're at stroke levels. Like, we need to do something.
yeah.
And so he went to have a physical. They did a full cardiac workup. He got his hemoglobin A1C was like very slightly elevated. So I put him on my program and I helped him with natural supplements that he doesn't even take anymore. He just took them temporarily to drop his pressure a little bit. So natural supplements, a few diet changes, nothing crazy. It wasn't like never another piece of bread and you can never drink another beer. It wasn't like that. It was just like a few diet changes, natural supplements, and he started walking. He lost 25 pounds. His hemoglobin A1C is normal and his blood pressure is normal now.
And that's without the assistance of
pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Right. And his cardiologist told me, like, if your husband wasn't able to get to this point, like, I would have to prescribe him medication because, and I empathize with the physicians. A lot of times they do want to help people in other ways. Unfortunately, a lot of people say, okay, I'm going to stop this or I'm going to start this, and then they don't. And then they come back to the doctor and things are worse. And I mean, if they wanted, in some ways, they can blame the doctor and say, well, the doctor didn't give me medicine. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't go for a walk. You wouldn't stop eating everything you found. Like, you know what I mean? So, I empathize with the medical teams too.
Yeah. And I think personal responsibility and, taking ownership for yourself is something that is a lot easier to be able to pass the buck,
Right.
and play victim of sorts, when it is all up to the person, who's saying you can't go for a walk. It's only you saying, I don't need to go for a walk, I'm fine.
Right.
I mean, just a walk every day will change your life. 10-minute walk every day. There's no downside to that. So, Tanya, where can people find you to check out what you do and be able to find your work and contact you and work with you?
You can definitely work with me. So you can find me on Facebook on facebook.com/Tanya.Martha, Martha, just 2 first names there. And then I also have a Facebook group that is facebook.com/groups/restore your body. And on IG at restorative.rn.
Excellent. Yeah, and I'll put that all in the description. And it was great meeting you, getting to talk to you. And I thought I'd have another hyphy reference to go out on, but there we go. That's perfect. So I hope whoever is watching that can get to see that. So thank you so much for being on, and have a great rest of your day. Okay.
Thank you. Take care.
Welcome. You too. All right. Well, you guys have got to watch the video for that. Go on YouTube or Rumble and check this out. If you're not listening, or if you're not watching, go on there, or you can listen wherever you hear it if you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble. So thank you everyone here for listening here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN, with other shows such as When the Gloves Come Off, Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast, This Is It with Lizzie, and Say by the Ben. And the show is brought to you by Stoner Eats Predictions, Fred Ben Savage as Fuck, Hardcore Entertainment, Hypnosis is Great, and SockEmUp.org. You guys, thank you. Like, share, subscribe. You guys are the best. Thank you. And that is the show. Man, boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Ernest!
Yes, Pee-wee.
You brought the snacks, right?